It is that time for my response to a tweet. Yes, that's my response to a tweet. And today's question, it says, Phil, you are so smart. So what is the solution to the police brutality on our children? Phil, you are so smart. What is the solution to the police brutality on our children? Well, hey, I appreciate the sarcasm. But I'm not trying to be smart, not trying to be correct, not trying to be right, but I'm definitely not going to be left. But here's my response to this tweet. You're looking, let's look at it from this standpoint. We have all these questions, but we're not asking the right one, or we're not willing to deal with the right one. We have the questions of, what about the police brutality? What about the police going overboard? What about the excessive force? What about this being an adult over this child? Or it's a young boy or it's a female? Here's the question I think that you need to ask. And this is when I believe you'll be able to come up with a solution to it. Is why have we got to the level to where the police have to interact in the first place? Why are we even at that level? And here's the deal. One, you have to understand that we're all human beings. We all make mistakes. No matter what the profession, no matter what, we are flawed individuals. We teach our children to think before they act. We teach them to respect their elders and things of this nature. And so here's where it's all coming home to roost. The children are basically getting to the level, humanity is getting to the level to where they have to interact with the police. And you have to understand what the police's job is as a human being. See, let's take police brutality, right? Police brutality is a phrase used because the police was being brutal. That's what you want to call it, brutal. But you're not dealing with the fact that the police have to interact and be involved in the first place. For this human being to go overboard or be brutal, we're not addressing why he's there. He or she is there. Why? Because there were certain levels, and I'm going to call them the 5 levels of protection, that is being violated before the police even have to be involved. The first level is the child protecting itself from itself or someone else. What decisions is the child making? The child is making decisions to violate what? Thinking before acting and respecting their elders, more so respecting themselves. They're choosing to do something to diminish their own protection. We call it acting out, stealing, or whatever action they're going to take. They're in violation of their own protection. They're not looking out for themselves. Second level of protection that they're violating is their parents. They're not allowing their parents' advice to protect them from themselves or from others. They're choosing to disrespect that too. So now if we have them going to a school, now that they violated themselves and their parents' protection, their self-protection, their parents' protection, over what? Some shiny object, whatever it is that they feel that they want at that particular time, they're going to choose to make a decision to violate that parent's or that rule. Or more so, violate their own protection. So now they get to the school, it's time to interact with the teacher. For some whatever reason they have, let's take the South Carolina situation, the young lady with a cell phone. Because her cell phone is so paramount to her existence, she's deciding to protect her right with this cell phone versus protect herself and protect what her guardian sent her to school to do, and that is learn. And now the teacher is trying to what? Help protect the child by getting the child to learn, because reading and writing and all those things are far more protective than your cell phone is. That child decides the cell phone is more important. And so now she has to disrespect those rules. What? Think before acting. So that's already violated. Why? Because if she would have thought, she would have not put her cell phone out at school. Why? Because she would have been thinking that she was there to learn. And then the second thing is what? Respecting your elders. Okay, so she decided she didn't want to do neither one of those things. And so now the teacher's in this untenable position to where now the teacher needs to remove the cell phone so that she can help protect the child by teaching her how to learn and things like this. Since the child doesn't want that, the teacher says, I have to protect the other children. I have to protect the other children. You're being disruptive to their learning. I need you to leave. This child goes back to 1, 2, 3 and says, no, I'm not doing it. So now the teacher needs assistance. And the teacher is calling on the principal, an administrator, somebody higher up, higher authority. So now we're at level 4. And so now this child already violated 3 things. Now here comes the 4th. The principal's looking out for her protection. What? Saying this is an institution of learning and there's things that you can learn that will go far beyond whatever the cell phone can do for you right now. Because education is key, and your employment, and your job, and things of that nature. And so now he says, here, baby, you're trying to learn. Put the cell phone away. She says no. For some odd reason, the cell phone is so freaking important. More important than her learning. And so now she says, no, I'm not putting my cell phone away. Why? Why does she come to school thinking she needs to protect the cell phone? And that right to have it. Like these teachers are her mortal enemy. Like the advice that her guardians gave her is just totally just belittling her and just taking the life out of her. To where she has to protect that. And so now the principal protecting her tries to encourage her to get right. And then she says no. And then he says, I have to protect the other students. And so you need to leave. She says, no, I'm not leaving. And we're not even talking about how much time these people spent on this baby. We're not even talking about that. But now the rule of law and all these kind of things are starting to kick in, but everybody's trying to protect her. She's not trying to protect her. What her parents or her guardian said is not, she's not going to allow that to protect her. Now the teacher's trying to protect her. And now the principal's trying to protect her. And she's not allowing any of these things to take place. And then now here they have to call the resource officer. Now, once you get to the level, here's the 5th level, you're violating the 5th level. Once you get to the level where you're interacting with the police, it's not good. It's not good. Now, the law enforcement, he has firearms, he has tasers, he has all kinds of things he can use to subdue this person, but they're not thinking about these things. It's the cell phone and their right to have it. And they violated 5 levels of protection. 5 levels of protection that she's violated. And then now the police officer has to remove her from the class. Why? Because not only did she violate 5 levels of protection for herself, now she's violating the levels of protection for others. Selfish. And so now this child has to be removed by the police officer. To where now this interaction with the police officer, another human being with authority that's a little bit different than the other human beings. She strikes him, he's tipping over in chairs, things are going, and now everybody wants to focus on the question of the police brutality, excessive force, this adult on this child, female child at that, and you're forgetting that he's a human being responding to what? A human being that has violated 5 levels of their own protection. So the question is, what are we going to do to get children to stop violating these levels of protection before they even get to this interaction with this human being that happens to be law enforcement? Hey, this is Phil Williams. That's my response to this tweet on the Phil Williams Show.